Hello and welcome to Steve's Mixtapes. My guest mixer this week is somebody who I met online during lockdown, and like a show a couple of weeks ago with Neil Syme, I'm actually meeting him face to face, or on Zoom anyway, for the first time today. He also appears in my book about the fall, You Must Get Them All, and of course there's a link to that on stevesmixtapes.com. His name is Jonny Swift. Hello, Jonny.
Hello, Steve. Jonny here.
Good to see you. Nice of you to agree to come on. I should say that the main reason I got to know Jonny online during lockdown is you set up a Facebook group about the fall. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so when lockdown, the Fall were a band I'd always kind of admired and kind of enjoyed them from a distance, really. I had a few albums and singles by them, but I'd always wanted to kind of explore them a bit further. So when lockdown came into place, me and a close friend who kind of had the same sort of relationship with the band, we had this conversation about using this time off to kind of really explore the Fall. So we're like, yeah, let's do one album a week, starting off like Live at the Witch Trials. And it just went on from there. Set up a Facebook group and loads of people joined, and it just went on from there, and it became pretty much an obsession. And that was 5 years ago. It seems only like yesterday, but it's become like
the fall will do that to you. It was an interesting experience for me because I joined the group, and I'd done a few things like this in the past. It's the notion of going through an artist back catalogue like that as it's gone on for years, hasn't it? But I'd always joined ones where it was an artist I wanted to know more about. So it was an interesting experience being on yours, being I don't want to say expert, but being somebody who knew quite a lot about the bands. It was really interesting to come and sort of answer people's questions, and it was really enjoyable. And the reason, just if you haven't read the book, the reason I included Jonny in the forward was to talk about the fan community and how it's still going, how a group like that could still be set up in this day and age. Even after the band have ceased to be anymore. So there we go. So just to tell us a little bit more about yourself, Jonny. As I've only just discovered, you are a college lecturer in engineering, but you also are a bit of a musician as well. I looked up your Bandcamp page, actually. I knew you'd had songs out. I've seen this stuff on Facebook. I hadn't realised you've got 6 albums.
Five. Just had my fifth.
Five,
I just had my 5th album out called The End Is Now. Very cheery. But yeah, I've been doing solo music I've been in music all my life, playing bands, but I've went solo kind of about 5 or 6 years ago. And write all my own stuff. And like you said, to earn money, I'm an engineering lecturer up in Cumbria, a place called Dalton-in-Furness. But I've moved about a bit and I've got friends all over the place. And when I'm not working and looking after my kids, music is my life, really.
Okay, and you gig quite a bit as well. I do see in the local area. I've seen a few things on Facebook. And
I do the odd gig, not so much these days, but I've always gigged since my teenage 20s. I've always done live stuff as well. So music's always been part of my life, really. And I'm looking forward to talking about my 10 songs.
Well, I will. We'll talk to those. We'll get to the first one in just a moment, but I will put a link to your Bandcamp page, etc., on the web page for this mix.
Thank you,
let's move on to the first choice. So, Hit the Ground Running. I always ask my mixers to choose something to start the mix off with a bit of a bang, and you've gone for the Horrors, a band that I remember were going to be the next big thing at some point, and I haven't heard about them for quite a while. So, tell us about you and the Horrors.
Yeah, well. This is from their second album, which is called Primary Colours, and it's brilliant. I used to be more into their third album called Skying, which is just amazing, like production-wise and everything. But the second album was a bit more raw, and there's this song on it called 3 Decades. It's just absolutely brilliant. It's just like shoegaze, post-punk, and it's one of those I never get, like most of these, I never get bored. Some songs I just never, ever get bored of, and this is one of them. It's got... When you said Hit the Ground Running, I just thought of this, and I thought a lot of songs, but this, it just got pure energy, like the production, the vocals. It's just superb, in my opinion.
The Horrors with 3 Decades from their 2009 album Primary Colours. Yeah, you mentioned shoegaze. I thought there was a little bit of My Bloody Valentine around the beginning of that. There's a bit of an echo of
Yeah.
that. Would you say?
Oh, definitely. They've got elements of the Chameleons, you'll probably know. You can tell their influences, like the Cure, the Chameleons, maybe a bit of the Fall. I don't know. Yeah, definitely shoegaze, My Bloody Valentine. Got some good influences. Wear them on the sleeves, but they're still going. I heard the latest single on Six Music the other day, and but yeah, that one in particular stands out for me.
Okay. All right. Well, you've stuck with the standard order of the categories. People are allowed to move them around if they like. Most people have stayed with the usual format. So it's something old next, and you've gone for something from 1968. Before we get to that, is this your favourite album by this artist?
Possibly. I kind of change a bit like the Fall, but it's another one I've discovered relatively recently. Do you want me to mention the album now?
Yeah, you can. Well, I
it's
asked
from
because we discussed this not too many shows ago. In show 8 with J.R. Moores from the Quietus, we discussed what our favourite Beatles albums were, and
right.
you've gone for something from the White Album.
Yeah, the White Album, and again, I did along like with the Fall. I did a Beatles album listening group because there's some albums I didn't really know, and the White Album was one of them. It's mad to think I've never listened to it in full until a few years ago, but since then I've become like obsessed with this album. It's just so like hidden gems in it, and you listen to it and you discover something new, which is great. I do like Sergeant Pepper, Revolver, but the White Album, yeah, it's brilliant from start to finish, I think.
Do you have one thing that John Moores and I discussed was that a lot of people who like the White Album still have a single album version. You know, if I was going to make it a single, I'd do this. Do you have a version like that?
No, just like all the tracks off it. It's just like
Okay.
I've read a bit about the Beatles as well, and around that time we were going the separate ways, so it's very much like four people solo music all coming together in a double album. It's
Well,
a
if I
weird
remember
mix.
rightly, didn't Ringo sort of walked out at least once during the recording, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, and I think they had Eric Clapton come in, so it's kind of like the beginning of the end of the Beatles in a way. But yeah,
There is a good book actually. I mean, there's a million Beatles books out there, but I read a good one called The End. I can't remember who it's by. I might go and look. It's on the bookcase just behind me in a moment, and it's really all about just how the Beatles broke up. It's a book all just about that. It's really interesting. So,
interesting. I'll make a note
if I
of
don't
that.
remember to go and dig it out of the bookcase, I'll put a link to it on the webpage. So you've gone for Sexy Sadie. Why particularly this one?
I don't know. I could have picked loads off the White Album, but it's just an odd. I go when I choose songs. Sometimes I like just odd songs, just don't really make sense, you know. And this song doesn't in a way. It just baffles me in terms of the songwriting and stuff. And I kind of I listen to it today, and it reminds me. It sets the scene for like the next stage in pop music in terms of like David Bowie and Elton John and stuff like that with the piano, and yeah, it's just a great tune as well.
Okay, well let's hear it now. This is the Beatles with Sexy Sadie.
Sexy Sadie, what have you done? You made a fool of everyone. You made a fool of everyone. Sexy Sadie, oh, what have you done? Sexy Sadie, you broke the rules. You laid it down for all to see. You laid it down for all to see. Sexy Sadie, oh, you broke the rules one sunny day. The world was waiting for the lover. She came along to turn on everyone. Sexy Sadie, the greatest of them all. Sexy Sadie, how did you know the world was waiting just for you? get yours yet. However big you think you are, however big you think you are, sexy Sadie, oh, you get yours yet. We gave her everything we own just to sit at her table. Just a smile would lighten everything. Sexy Sadie, she's the latest and the greatest of them all.
From 1968's White Album, although it's officially called The Beatles, isn't it? That was The Beatles with Sexy Sadie. Now we're moving on to your something new choice, Johnny. Something I've asked pretty much all the mixers so far is, in this era where I have read something close to 100,000 songs are released on various platforms every day, which is a bit mind-boggling. How on earth do you keep up? Well, it's a daft question because nobody can keep up. How do you try to keep abreast at least a bit of sort of contemporary music?
Well, I listen to Six Music quite a lot. They're really good at playing new stuff. Unlike sort of other radio stations, Six Music are really sort of on the ball with stuff coming through. And we've got a couple of friends who have a radio show as well, and they just play all new stuff. And they get a lot of recommendations from friends, try and keep on the ball with new stuff coming out. And, you know, I'm not one of these who says, you know, there's nothing good anymore, because there's absolutely loads of good music coming out. You've just got to dig a little bit more, possibly.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, it was always the case, you know, when you and I were growing up, you had to look past the charts sometimes to find the good music. But there's always been plenty of good music, and there's always been plenty of rubbish in the charts. That's always been the case, and probably always will be. Now,
Correct.
The new artist you've got is from an album from last year called Existentialism, and it's a band I've seen their name crop up in a few like music forums I belong to and so on, that I've given a casual listen to and never been particularly taken with, but I listened to your playlist quite a few times, and I really, really like this song. So this is The Lovely Eggs.
It's older than the song, the self-repeating town. The same thing went on then, the same thing goes on now. Watch me as I burn, I'm not listening, and I'm trying to get through, but I'm weeping more than wine. You tell me let it heal, but I pick it all the time. Creeping down the road,
The Lovely Eggs with People TB from Existentialism from 2024. Right, You're Something Borrowed. Now, I'd heard this song. I didn't know much about the artist, but I'd heard this cover version before. This is Ananda Shankar doing Jumpin' Jack Flash. He's an interesting guy. I'll put a link to his obituary from The Guardian on there. It tells you a little bit about him. But basically, he's a guy from 60s, 70s who was trying to merge Western rock music and Indian music, wasn't he? I mean, do you know much about him, or do you just like this song?
No, I know nothing. I'm glad you've done some research because no, I don't even know where I first heard this song, but again, probably on the radio or something like that. But just when you said like a cover, I could have chose loads of covers. The Fall did some absolutely brilliant covers, but I've got The Fall later on, surprisingly. But yeah, it's Jumping Jack Flash. It's just brilliant with the sitars, and it does blend like Indian music with like rock, Western rock music. And the original's brilliant, obviously by the Rolling Stones. And again, this got like bags of energy. It's just absolutely fantastic cover, in my opinion.
Ananda Shankar from his self-titled 1970 album, and that was his take on Jumpin' Jack Flash. His other well-known cover, he did The Doors' "Light My Fire," interestingly enough, from an album that we'll come back to later on. I'll put a link to that on the web page as well. Just a quick reminder before we move on that if you do want to be a guest mixer, then you can contact me. There's a Facebook group for Steve's Mixtapes. There's lots of links that's on stevesmixtapes.com to where you can get a hold of me on Blue Sky and Twitter, etc. And you can email me at thefallinfives@gmail.com. Right, before we move on to your Something Blue, you mentioned before that you live up in Cumbria, in Barrow. Is it Furness or Furness? I never know how you say it.
I don't know. It's just whatever people make their own
Okay.
Furness, I would say, but who knows?
Well, it's a bit like I live not that, although I'm in Wales, I live not that far from Shrewsbury, as I would call it, but there's a big debate of Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury, right, yeah.
I think most of the people from there call it Shrewsbury, but don't write in angrily if that's not the case. So yeah, it's not a place I know at all, but it's known for. Isn't there a big power station or something there?
We've got all sorts of industry around here. There's Sellafield nuclear power station up the coast. Where I'm from, we build submarines. So yeah, we've got all sorts of sort of engineering sort of things around here, really.
Okay. Right. So Something Blue. We've gone for Blur. Why this particular song?
This is from the album 13, I think it was from 1999, and I'm a big fan of this band. They're one of sort of like bands I got into in the 90s, Britpop, but they sort of like impressively sort of changed a bit of direction around this album. And this, I think the album and this song in particular explores his Damon's breakup with his girlfriend at the time. I think it's Justine Fishman from Elastica, and I listened to it today, it's just heartbreaking.
It's over. You don't need to tell me. I hope you with someone who makes you feel safe when you're sleeping tonight. Kill myself trying to stay in your life. I got no distance left to run. When you see me, please turn your back and walk away. I don't wanna see you, 'cause I know the dreams that you keep is where we meet. And when you're coming down, think of me. I got no distance left to run. It's over. I knew it would end this way. I'd hope you're with someone who makes you feel that this life is the life. And he settles down, stays around, spends more time with you. I got no distance left to run.
But for me, the best thing that Damon Albarn's ever been involved with was Glitter Freeze. I should put a link up to that as well. Have you seen? Because that's got Marky Smith on it.
No, I haven't.
Oh right, you should watch. When we're finished doing this, get on YouTube and look up Glitter Freeze at Glastonbury, because Marky Smith came on stage with his customary lyrics scribbled on a bit of paper that he carried around and stole the show.
Right.
And just because he was playing with gorillas, didn't stop him fiddling with the amps and everything. So
fantastic.
Moving on to the Take It Down track. This is where I ask the guest mixer to make things a little gentler, dip the mood a little before we pick up a little bit more towards the end. So you've gone for another, or would you call them a Britpop band? That's
90s
someone
indie.
from a similar sort of era. Manic Street Preachers, another band that I've never really quite connected with, I have to be honest. Are you a big fan?
Yeah, a fair same. I kind of like the first maybe 4 albums or so in the 90s. Big fan. Again, growing up in the 90s as a teenager, this was like one of my main bands. They're not really known for the quieter songs. They've had some big hits, but they were very early on. They were very punky, and this album comes from the Holy Bible, which is like very critically acclaimed.
Would you say it's their best? I mean, I don't know any of the albums very, very well, but it's the one that I hear most often people, banging on about as being a classic. Is it their best album?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, lyrically very complex, musically very dark, very angular kind of with the guitar. I mean, James Bradfield's brilliant guitar player. This song is like the most downbeat song maybe they've got. This Is Yesterday, it's called, and it just moves me every single time I listen to it.
Do not listen to what I say. Just listen to what I can. Keep silent. The only way to gain approval is by exploiting the very thing that cheapens me.
Okay, we're going around the world now. Before we hear your around the world choice, Johnny, are you much of a traveller? We've had various people. We've had Eric Smith, who was on early on, who's travelled all over the world. Gavin Morgan, who was my guest on show 3, goes on holiday. You know, each year he goes on holiday more often than I change my trousers, to be honest. So where do you sit on that spectrum? Are you a big traveller?
Yes, I am. A girlfriend, Alison. She's obsessed with holidays, let's say.
Okay.
I'm going to Thailand in 2 weeks, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I'd like to travel about around Europe. But a few years ago, I went to Cuba. So I've been to where this band are from. Fame probably put this place on the map musically. And it's Buena Vista Social Club, Chan Chan. When you set the category of around the world, could have chosen, a lot of different things, but it's kind of got a special place in my heart. I couldn't really choose anything else. So the album came out, I think, 1998 or something like that. Buena Vista Social Club album. It's just brilliant musically. And I've been to Havana, and it's just embedded into this album, this band, kind of embedded into life in Havana, in Cuba. And if you've not seen like the documentary about how it was formed, they're basically a group of old Havana Cuban musicians who were brought together for like a tour and an album, and it kind of exploded worldwide after that. To give a bit of background behind it.
Yeah, there was a period of time where it was a huge album, wasn't it? And it was the sort of thing that was on everybody's dinner party. Not that I ever have dinner parties, but it was that and the first Portishead album were the two things that people had on at dinner parties. And that reminded me, as soon as you say Buena Vista Social Club, they immediately bring a song lyric to mind. I don't know if you're much of a Half Man, Half Biscuit fan, but there's the opening lines of the light at the end of the tunnel is the light of an oncoming train and I've written it down so I didn't forget them. She stayed with me until she moved to Notting Hill. She said it was the place she needs to be, where the cocaine is fair trade and frequently displayed is the Buena Vista Social Club CD.
Yeah, brilliant. I've not heard that one. That's fantastic.
So I'll put a link up to that song as well, the brilliant piece of music. So anyway, let's hear it now. This is Chan Chan.
De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarín. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarín. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarín. El cariño que te tengo no te lo puedo negar. Se me sale la babita, yo no lo puedo evitar. Cuando Juanita y Chan Chan en el mar servían arena, como sacudí el jibe, a Chan Chan le daba pena. Limpia el camino de paz, que yo me quiero sentar en aquel tronco que veo y así no puedo llegar. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarín. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarín. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarín. llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Matané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí.
Buena Vista Social Club with Chan Chan from their self-titled album, which I think was released in 1997, so I've got down in my notes, but it was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're moving on to a band that I know reasonably well. You've actually gone for a 4-song. So I mentioned you appear in the foreword of my book. So I've copied and pasted from my book what you actually said. Well, not all of it, but the bit that was included. So for me, he says, that's you, this project has been really life-changing. A band that I liked and wanted to hear more of has turned into an obsession. I never knew the full extent of what an amazing band they were, both lyrically and musically. And you then go on, I think, to compare getting around to listen to the back catalogue to cleaning your house, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Probably more difficult to listen to all the Fall songs and clean your house.
You've chosen a 4-song for your left of centre category, so something a bit odd, and it is, even by Fall standards, a bit of a curious one. It's not one that Steve Hanley was a fan of. In his book, he called it a bit of a filler, but it is an interesting song. It's Bug Day from Wonderful and Frightening World, that album from 1984. What led you to choose this one?
Well, I could have chosen Fall for a lot of these categories. I could do a whole podcast on the Fall. I'm a big fan, as you know, and as you said. And there's an argument to say that any Fall track could have been left of centre. But yeah, this is, again, it's like an oddity of a song. Marky Smith had a great way with words, like painting a picture. Describes the lyrics in this song like cockroaches molded into the ground and free moth shivered, it taken to like a field in the middle of summer or something like that. It's just, the music, it's just very hypnotic. There's just like a guitar.
It's quite woozy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, I just love it. Some people have like slated it, but brilliant track, in my opinion.
Having been involved with various sort of Fall groups on the Fall forum and so on, I will say, yes, it's not a fan favourite, I would say, but I've always been very fond of it. So anyways, let's hear it now. This is the Fall with Bug Day.
Midges hovered over the heather. 3 moths shivered. 3 moths shivered. Cockroaches molded in the ground. Tom Holmes belched fire. So, fleet at sea, terrors hit water. My Noah said eek. My Noah said eek. Sea reaffirmed some things. We learned some things. People behave very wrong. The company. Green is starboard, back. Left is port. There. Old continental women. Coffee cups poised on front. The text flips to the right, nosy. Facing up to the sea is a very hard thing. Facing up to the sea is a very hard thing. Anything is better now. Bug day. Bug day. Bug day. Bug day. Bug day. Bug day.
We are going through the mix of Jonny Swift, my guest mixer this week, and we're just about to look at his wild card choice. Before we do that, just wanted to ask you, Jonny, I mentioned at the beginning you've had quite a few, 5 albums, you said. I must have miscounted when I looked at your Bandcamp page. Would you say any of the artists that you've included on this mix are particularly influential on you?
I don't know if like consciously influential. Like I take in sort of influences all the time. When I write, I don't really sort of consciously try and sort of embed any particular artist into my music. It's a bit of a boring answer, but yeah, kind of maybe in the fall in terms of kind of I don't really care what people think, and some of my albums
That's a very fall-like attitude, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really. I'm not really bothered. I just put it out and do what I want. I don't really care. So I've kind of, in terms of my attitude, yeah, kind of got that from the fall and Marky Smith.
Okay, fair enough. And when you write songs, do you come up with a lyric and set it to music, or other way around?
It's always the music first, Steve. Yeah, the lyrics probably for me the hardest to do. I kind of do it definitely the music way around. You know, either I'm mainly on guitar, writing the music, and I get the vocal melody, and then right at the end will come sort of like the lyrics. I'm pretty lazy, really, in terms sometimes of lyrics. But recent albums, I've done some spoken word tracks where I've written the words first and put it to music, to try and do something a bit different, really. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, as I say, I'll put a link to your Bandcamp page on the webpage for this, and hopefully you'll get a few new listeners, a few new customers.
Yeah,
right.
Thank you.
Moving on to your wildcard choice, and do you want to tell me then what this is and why you've chosen it?
This is by the Specials. It's called Racist Friend. Again, I think I heard it on the radio for the first time, and I thought, wow, this song was written in the 70s or 80s or whenever, and it's still like kind of very applicable to what's happening at the moment in the world. You know, we had those racist riots last year, and you know, I had to delete quite a few people off my social media for saying, you know, anti-immigration stuff and racist stuff, and I just have a zero tolerance to stuff like that. And with people, I think you've just got to challenge it when it comes up, and it's just a fun song. Specials were a great band, and this is one of my favourite songs by the Specials, really.
change their friend. Now is the time, now is the time for your friendship to end. You know a racist who thinks he is your friend. Now is the time, now is the time for your friendship to end. Call yourself my friend. Now is the time to make up your mind. Don't try to pretend. Be it your sister, be it your brother, be it your cousin or your uncle or your lover.
So if you are a racist, our friendship has got to end.
And if your friends are racists, don't pretend to be my friend.
So if you have a racist friend, now is the time, now is the time for our friendship to end.
Bye.
The Specials with a Racist Friend. It was a single in 1983. It's also on their 1984 album In the Studio. Right, we're coming up to your finale choice, Johnny. And this is an album that actually I haven't listened to in quite a long time, but I used to play this to death. I went through a bit of a phase in my teenage years of loving the Doors, thinking Jim Morrison was the greatest poet who ever lived and all the rest of it. I think they are a band that a lot of people get into at that sort of age and then maybe grow out of a little bit. But I've always, there are some quite naff Doors songs, but I still love the album LA Woman. I think it's an absolute cracker. I love some of the blues songs on it and everything else. So you've gone for Riders on the Storm. So rather than the big rousing finale, you've gone for the sort of epic ebbing away approach.
Yeah, I'm a big Doors fan. Probably like yourself, I went through a definite Doors phase, like late teens, early 20s. Became obsessed with them, obsessed with Jim Morrison, like you said. LA Woman's a great album. Like the last album I did is as a band. It's very bluesy, very rocky. I love the title track from it, LA Woman. It's very euphoric. And there's some other great tracks on there. But for me, this is the final song in the album. When you said finale, there's no better finale song than this. It's just brilliant. Ray Manzarek's keyboard playing and the production on it with the rainstorm and everything. It's just perfect song.
And I've seen a few things. I saw something was it on Netflix or Amazon? I can't remember. Idly flicking through the telly, which is unusual for me, but I came across a recording of them playing somewhere in about 68. And they were an incredibly tight live band. Particularly, I think he's incredible, Ray Manzarek, the way because he's producing the bass lines as well, isn't he? He's playing the keyboard, which is incredible. Makes my head hurt just thinking about that.
Yeah, I think they only had a bass player on a couple of the album tracks, but it was mainly Ray doing the
pedals.
Both the bass with his left hand and the lead keys on the right hand or whatever it was. But very impressive. No,
there's loads of songs I really love on this album. I love Carl's Hits by My Window, Been Down So Long, all that sort of stuff. It's really, really good. And the title track is excellent as well. Interesting facts about Riders on the Storm, which I looked up. It was the last song to be recorded by all four members of the Doors.
Yeah.
And it was also the last song recorded by Jim Morrison to be released in his lifetime.
Yes.
I also discovered looking up that there was if I ever saw this at the time, I blanked it from my mind. Somebody called Annabelle Lamb had a hit with a cover of the song in 1983. It got to number 27. I'll put a link to her doing it on Top of the Pops. It's absolutely bloody awful.
I didn't know. I've not heard that one, Steve, but I might check that out.
You know, that was on Top of the Pops when I was 14, and I'm pretty sure I watched Top of the Pops pretty much every Thursday religiously, like most of us did. So I'd be surprised if I didn't see it, but it's really poor, so I probably blanked it from my mind. Anyway, so let's hear it now. This is Riders on the Storm.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, and actor out alone. Riders on the storm. There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. Take a long holiday. Let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Killer on the road. Yeah. Girl, you gotta love your man. Girl, you gotta love your man. Take him by the hand. Make him understand. The world on you depends. Our life will never end. Gotta love your man. Yeah. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out on loan. Riders on the storm.
Riders on the Storm, as discussed, the last song recorded by all four members of The Doors, and it appears on their excellent 1971 album L.A. Woman. Well, so that's about it for your mix, Jonny. It just remains for me to say thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and a pleasure to meet you face to face at last.
Yeah. Thank you again for asking me to be on this. I mean, anything to do with music. I love just talking about music and thinking about songs. So I've enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for asking me on.